If you can, start with an update on a couple of players, Artem Zub and Austin Watty.
Waddy, just maintenance. Expect he'll play tomorrow. Zuby, obviously took that puck to the face. We expect could miss 3 weeks, maybe to a month.
What's the injury to his face?
His jaw, just a small fracture. We think that we'll see how it heals and how he does, but we're hopeful.
What did you learn about your group this weekend? I know you maybe yesterday had a little bit of a chance to decompress and unwind after, I'm sure, a very emotional 24 hours there for your team. What do you feel like you learned out of that?
Well, I think they're a resilient group. I think they believe in each other. I think, they understand how we have to play to win, and saying that, we probably give up more chances against San Jose than we have in a while, but goaltending was outstanding. It's a better feel for sure. And it's not about, obviously we're winning more games, but there's just a better feel in the room, and we know exactly what we have to do to win.
Take Zub out of the mix, how does that change things around? I mean, he plays a lot of minutes for you.
Yeah, plays a lot of minutes, plays against real good players. Obviously our record hasn't been great without him. Other guys are going to have to step up and be better. Our forwards are going to have to hold on to the pucks in the O-zone a lot longer to take pressure off of the guys. You have to play on clearly, but it's not ideal losing a guy like him. But like we've said before, other teams go through injuries. You have no choice. You've got to find a way to win.
Pierce said, I think it was at the GM's meetings in Toronto last month, that just once he'd like to see this roster for 25 to 30 games with the roster. Are you kind of the same opinion?
Are you asked? Yeah. Would I like Norris and everyone healthy? Yeah, I would. But that's the NHL. Unfortunately, we haven't had that opportunity. If you bring a guy like Norris back into the fold and Zub, everyone slots down, and all of a sudden now, you have maybe, Pinto playing again with Mott and those guys, and all of a sudden that line scoring. There's all kinds of things, but that's neither here nor there. They're not available. We have to do what we got to do to win games now, and we know what that is, and it's check. We're only going to check our way out of this. We've got an ability to score on some lines, and our power play's been good of late, but you got to give up nothing, and the less you give up, the more chance you have to win.
Play the sides, do you have to adjust who they play against?
Why? What do you mean?
Chabot plays normally a lot.
Chabot plays, and he plays with everybody. He plays in the O-zone. He'll get shifts with Branny. He'll play shifts with Jake 4-on-4. He'll play whatever. We're trying to even out the pairings. Jack and myself will talk before the game who we want the matchups somewhat to be. A lot of times it's Chabot playing with an offensive line, and that may be, it depends who they're deploying. So, they'll continue. I thought Zaitsev has played well in his 2 games. We hope that continues, but we need everybody. I think Hamanek's effort there, that 4-on-3. The shot blocking and the things he did back there, clearly our guys, the emotion that they showed after we scored, there's guys pulling from all angles back there. And I think as a group, that's a real competitive group, and we're going to do everything we can to win.
Any encouraging news on the JBD front?
He's still a bit away. With those ankles, you never know. And even when you feel good, you come back, and sometimes it doesn't do well. And then, there's some guys down there that have played really well, and Max Gannett, and guys like that. And, unfortunately, he got hurt last night. It's next man up mentality. It's just, unfortunately, a lot of these guys down there are getting hurt, and there's just, there's no one available at this point.
Does Zaitsev look a little bit refreshed to you?
Mental reprieve for sure. I think so much is not talked about, or a lot of times we talk about mental health, but maybe not mental health of the players themselves. And when the player's feeling good, you're going to get their best game. Clearly, he was not in a great spot prior to going down. And, he came back up, maybe just turned the world off for a few days, came back up with a refreshed mind. He's the first time I've seen him smile in a while. Obviously, he's carried heavy a lot of the criticism that's come to him, but he's had a smile on it. It was great to see the guys, give him the goggles. They realize a guy that's hurting and that's come up, and it's great to see for a group that they're always looking to pick each other up.
Coaches don't talk about that very often, but how much does that play a role in day-to-day activities in the NHL, like the mental health and players that, sometimes the confidence is not?
It's absolutely imperative that your mental health is good if you want to have success. And maybe it's not talked a lot. It's talked a lot about in our group. I've dealt with a lot of players that have had mental health. I've done a lot of people that have had it. And when a guy's mind is right, at this level, he can play. If his mind is not right, he is not going to play well. He's going to lose confidence. He's going to second-guess himself. And then you don't know the tortures they're putting them through at home every single day when they're at home by themselves thinking. There's a lot of pressure on these guys. There's a lot of pressure on a lot of people. But it's talked about quite a bit for us, and I think the players are aware that us as a coaching staff and as an organization take mental health very seriously, and we provide people to help them at all times. But ultimately, for some of the guys up here, a guy like Zaitsev in particular, goes down, gets to turn the world off, comes back, you just see a different person.
Things like, Cam Talbot gave him the goggles after the last victory. Is this a kind of a way for a team to show him support?
That is such a classy move by a guy that's been around and seen this scenario in other organizations, in other cities where, people are getting on a guy. And he saw an opportunity to give the guy a boost. And obviously he played well, but he saw an opportunity to give a guy a shot in the shoulder. And to me, it was such a mature move for a guy that's been around. It could have given, to anybody. There was lots of guys that played well. And to give it to a guy that he knew would make him feel better and the team stronger, that was absolutely the right move.
What's your thought process with your goaltenders right now? It feels like this is the first time you've had two healthy goalies that are actually really playing well at the same time. So what kind of goes into the decision here in the week ahead?
Well, obviously Berkey, and we talked, the goalie coach. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to know a whole lot about goaltending when I don't. And him and now Petey being up with Berkey being injured, make those decisions. But certainly it's way more comfortable when the guys are rolling. And I think Talbot, I don't know if we factored in the fact that he had sat there for so long and then never got to really get into a rhythm. He clearly looks in a rhythm right now. And then the back-to-back fours he went, and that's great. He competed. But, both of them, if they keep this up, is only great for us. But I think Talby right now wants to have a good run, and he's given us every opportunity to win.
Rare to ask for an injury update on somebody from your staff, but you kind of alluded to the fact that Zach's still not with you. Can you just maybe offer kind of where he's at right now after that?
Well, not to go into too much of his personal stuff, but he played net, played in the National Hockey League, and suffered through, some concussion issues at the end of his career, taking shots and what have you, and then to take a puck in the head, he's had a few lasting effects, from it. He feels all right working up when he goes on the ice. There's things that linger. So ultimately, his health is of the utmost importance. We're kind of trying to take the stress away from him. He's doing it from afar, but it's tough. The guy's got 3 kids, that go through their own sicknesses. He had a couple twins that went through their own sicknesses themselves, and there's a lot of pressure. And we're doing everything we can to help him.
Still around the rink at all? Is he coming in?
He comes in sometimes early in the mornings, but he's there for his kids right now with that those colds and things going on. He's got 2 young daughters that he's able to be at home right now. But the lights and the going on the ice haven't been great for him. So we'll reevaluate in a week or so, but we're still in constant contact with him.
Derek Brassard can play tomorrow, Coach?
Yeah, I think he needed that break. I think, he had a nagging injury he was playing through. He's a competitive guy and he wanted to go every night. But the last game he played in, it was clear it was bothering him and it was slowing him down. But after missing a couple games, getting treatment, practices, he looked good out there today. I'll talk to him. I expect Waddy will be back for the game, and Brass, if he's ready to go, will be back in.